Okay, welcome to the show. Gotta tell you, man, it never gets old. It never gets old. Listen, I had a lot of fun watching the Knicks this year, and their season's, the regular season at least, is about to conclude. You got about a week's or maybe 2 weeks worth of games. Baseball will always be my first love. It'll always be my favorite sport to watch, play, and talk about. And man, can I not wait to talk about this Yankees team and what they did on opening day, on the second game of the season 2 days later, and earlier today or earlier tonight. I'm this excited, man. I hopped on a couple hours after the game. Usually I'll record the day after. I want to talk Yankees baseball. It was opening series this past week. Wow. And the Yankees obviously sweep because that's all they do on opening day and opening series. I remember a time when they used to get off to slow starts, but they have swept 3 straight series. 2024 to open up the season, they swept. 2025, they did it. And now this year, in 2026, they swept to open up the season. Last year, I remember it was the Brewers. The year before that, the Astros. But against the Brewers, I do remember it was the Torpedo Bat series. There was a lot of buzz around that, negative buzz at the time because people just weren't aware of it. And it was all about the Yankee bats. And we talked about how the bats would affect their offense because they exploded for a whole bunch of runs. They scored like 3 touchdowns a game. And it was a completely different story, but the same result in this series in San Francisco against the Giants. The Yankees did it via pitching, pitching, pitching. It's my favorite thing to watch. It's my favorite thing to discuss. As somebody who has grown up around the game and idolized guys like Andy Pettitte, idolized guys like Mariano Rivera, pitching is always going to be my favorite thing about baseball. And to watch this team put on the clinic that they did this past week was just like, if you're into art and you go to a museum and you stare at the bullshit they have now in modern day museums, I don't know if it's much art, but it's like watching actual art. Like, that's the feeling I get. That was a stupid analogy. Anyways, before I keep rambling, I want to discuss this series, man, because my God, it was fun. Welcome everybody to the show, episode 1030 of the podcast, and we're talking Yankees baseball. The offseason's over. The WBC has concluded. The regular season has begun. And the Yankees are 3-0. It's a team that I think has as good a shot as anybody to win the championship this year. And I'm not just talking about the American League Championship, but I'm talking about the World Series. I think they've got a great shot. So I'm excited, and I've maintained that opinion for a couple of months now, and I'm excited. So let's talk about it. Let's get into this series. Let's discuss everything, because my goodness, is there a lot to discuss. This could be our longest episode, at least our longest solo episode of all time, with the amount of things I want to talk about in this show. So thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the podcast. For those who are new and maybe just stumbling upon this channel somehow on YouTube or wherever you're listening to the pod at, welcome. You're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We do Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and on occasion we'll do some MMA. But we are obviously talking New York Yankees in this one. You can find us on all different social media platforms, Instagram at BD4Pod, Twitter or X at BD4Pod, And I'm also on Facebook, but I'm most active on Twitter and Instagram. Definitely follow those pages. To listen to this pod, Apple Podcasts, Spotify to watch it or listen to it, and YouTube to also watch it. Let's talk. Because the New York Yankees took the series in a sweep, but they took opening day 7-0 back on, was that Wednesday? It was the lefty Max Fried going up against the righty Logan Webb, fresh off the WBC. But Max Fried, I guess we'll dive first into his outing, was freaking spectacular. You know? And I had plans to give him the award of the series. We usually tip our caps. I had plans to do it, but there's another guy we're going to get into later who I think you all know who it's going to be. But Max Fried doesn't mean he wasn't spectacular, because he was. 6 1/3 innings in this game. No runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 1 hit batter, 86 pitches, and he gets the win. You know, to start in this game, he kind of struggles with his cutter command early on. Bottom of the first inning, he issues a 4-pitch walk to start the season to a guy who is kind of impossible to walk in Luis Arias. So he issues a 4-pitch walk to him. Eventually gets out of it. Bottom of the second inning, falls behind in the count with a couple of cutters out of the zone to Schmidt. And then he ends up hitting him with the cut fastball. Puts him on. So at least early on, the cutter was missing high. He was missing glove side. But then he settled in, and then he found his ways, and he did it by the Max Fried way. By generating ground ball contact. Pretty moderate contact on pitches that broke out of the zone. He mixed up his pitches. He spun the ball very well. That's what he does. He spins the ball well, and he gets good break, and he pitches. Right? The bottom of the first inning, he throws that sinker to Young-Hoo Lee. It's a ground ball out to Jazz to escape that jam. Ends up getting 7 of his 19 outs via the ground ball out. Didn't throw a single pitch in this game 25% of the time or more. Tells you how much he mixed and matched. He went to his right-handed pitches when he needed to. You know, pitches for right-handed bats. He went to his pitches for left-handed bats when he needed to. For the giant righties, he went cutter on the hands. Change up away. He dropped in the curve. And then for the giant lefties, sinker in on the hands. You know, going to both sides with the four seam and the sweeper even. Bottom of the second inning, he strikes out the bottom of the order. 3 strikeouts in a row. He was very effective using his four seam cutter combination, getting lots of swing and miss and soft contact with those 2 pitches. As his outing went on, like in the 6th inning, he did start to get hit pretty hard. I think he let up 3 consecutive lineouts in the 6th at 100 miles an hour off the bat. But it was nice to see him go back out there and pitch into the 7th, get one more out before he was pulled. So for him to go into the 7th on March 26th, that's good, right? It's early on, and he still gave you some distance. So obviously, a great start for his first outing, considering he didn't even look dominant. So I'm excited for Max Fried. I think Max Fried will continue to be even better than he was on Wednesday night. The Yankee bats in this game, though, explode for 7 runs on 10 hits, 9 of them being singles. There was not a single home run as well. I know the old school purists like that. No home runs, 3 walks, 12 strikeouts, 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They stole a base, and they grounded into 1 double play. Against the righty Logan Webb, the Yankees went with their regular / left-handed heavy lineup. And they ended up scoring on him, I think, all 5 of those runs, or all 7 of those runs. because against the San Fran bullpen, the Yankees got no runs in 4 innings. But top of the second against Webb, Jose Caballero and Ryan McMahon with back-to-back RBI base hits. Trent Grisham a little later with a 2-run triple in the gap. It's 5-0 Yanks. You fast forward a few innings to the top of the 5th inning. Webb is still in the game. Stanton rips an RBI single. And then Jazz hits the ball to shortstop, but Willie Adames, or he hits the ball to, I think it was second base, and on the transfer, Willie Adames makes an E6. Overthrows first base. It's 7-0. Rice comes in to score. So that was your offensive production. You go up and down the order a little bit here. Grisham goes 1 for 5 on opening day. Triple, 2 RBIs there. But he was hitting the ball super hard all night. There was that one play that I thought in the center field that he could have probably gotten to. It was early on. It was that Devers bloop. Got a late read on it, maybe in the sun. Other than that, good game for him. Ben Rice was 1 for 4 with a walk. Stanton was 2 for 4 with an RBI. He scored from second on a Caballero single. That was nice and new. Don't see that often. Caballero ends up going 1 for 4 with an RBI. Grounded into a double play and made an E6. Jazz was 1 for 3 in this game. Hit by a pitch. Stole a base. Reached by beating out that error. And also made an excellent catch at second base on a line drive that popped out of his glove, ends up catching it, juggles it around with his bare hand. McMahon goes 1 for 3, couple RBIs and a walk. Had some excellent at-bats. Austin Wells 2 for 3 with a walk. He also had some excellent at-bats, saw the ball very well in this game. That's going to be a big key for Austin Wells this year. It's his selectivity. That's like a part of his game. When he first came up, he was very good at that. Struggled a bit last year with the consistency. So it was kind of just the slug that was there. He lost that discipline. So getting that back is going to be key. Judge went 0 for 5 with the 4 strikeouts. You know how that went over. And you know how that ended by the end of the series. But it was nice in this specific game on opening day to kill a couple of narratives right off the bat. You know, the fact that the Yankees, you know, there's this narrative on them that like they can't score unless Judge has a huge night. Well, golden sombrero when they drop a 7-0 win. Or they can't score without hitting the long ball. 7-0 win, didn't hit a single home run. Or that they can't hit elite starting pitching. Beat up on one of the National League's best aces. You know, now they struggled with Logan Webb's glove side pitches early on, the changeup and the sinker. They were getting behind early in counts. And I thought it was going to be a tough night for them, to be honest, because the Yankees, this is just by the eye test, feels like they struggle with ground ball and weak contact pitchers. But they did a nice job making adjustments, and they waited for those pitches to work their way back to the barrel, work their way back to the middle of the plate, and those barrels helped them get the ball in the air. They were also very aggressive early in counts throughout the night, and it ended up paying off. So that was your offensive production. The bullpen, 2 2/3, 2 strikeouts, a walk. Jake Bird finished the 7th for Max Fried. No runs and a strikeout in 2/3 of an inning. Tunneling that 2-seamer and sweeper very beautifully. Just a sharp break. I think he's going to have a big year. Brent Hedrick got the 8th inning, 1 inning, no runs, 1 hit, a walk, and a strikeout. Glad he made the roster. The Yankees need a talented lefty. You know, they've got Hill, who can get you the ground ball contact, soft contact. Yarborough kind of similar in that way. But Hedrick is a hard thrower. And then speaking of hard throwers, we'll talk about him later on this show. Camilo Doval got the 9th in this game, no runs. Again, we'll talk about him later. Now, aside from the game itself, good Christ, there was the Netflix broadcast, because that's the only way you could have watched this game. It got a lot of reviews. Just I feel like it got a lot of negative reviews, and I hate to rag on that and pile on. But yeah, I mean, this was rough. It was a bit too much going on. I think that's the best way I can put it. Just a little too much going on. There was not enough baseball for me being emphasized. Like, it was really gimmicky. It was like so much about pop culture, and they had these WWE stars on there. They had Burt Kreischer. They had Jameis Winston. Hey, look, Burt Kreischer's shirt's off. Hey, look, Jameis Winston, the crab legs. Let's make that a thing. Like, it was just a little much. It was too much yapping, too much focus on content. The game took forever to start because of all that. It was about 25 minutes behind. And then once the game got started, the amount of camera cuts during the game, my gosh. We missed the first ABS challenge in Major League history. We didn't get to see the review because they were interviewing the new manager of the friggin' Giants as it was going on. It's not Shahadi's fault. It's the network. But wow. We missed a base hit coming back from break because they were too busy, showing these stupid ads. They were going to these split screens for way too long, and when they were doing that, they removed the scoreboard entirely so you couldn't see the score or the count or anything. I always hated when they mic'd up guys during the game. It's just too much, and it's overstimulation, and that's just what this whole thing felt like. Now, there were some positives. I thought the score bug itself was pretty cool. It was a little tiny, but we all have big TVs now. But I like the idea of the score bug. I think it looked cool. I think having it in the bottom right was cool. Usually it's either the middle center or bottom center or the top center. I thought the quality of the video was very good until that odd glare came for a few innings. Something with the sun and the way the camera was positioned. I don't know if that was more Netflix, but the national anthem was great. And I thought the pregame cast of Pujols and Bonds and Rizzo was pretty good. I thought they did a nice job showing the ballpark. It is a beautiful ballpark. They displayed it with their drone shots and everything. But again, that was kind of part of the distraction a lot of the time. So overall, the Netflix broadcast was kind of bad. It just felt like one giant Netflix commercial. All the celebrities they had were only there to eventually promote their show or their upcoming whatever the hell. Just to promote coverage. They had these holographic ads distracting behind home plate. Like Devers was up. There was a snapshot. He was up and you could barely see him. He looks like a blur because they had that friggin' Adobe ad right behind him. So it just felt overall like an all-star game. It felt like a home run derby coverage more than opening day to the regular season. Also, can we get a better lead reporter? One who knows baseball. All right, if I didn't know any better, I would come on here and say that the person they got to do this, L. Duncan, was a certain kind of hire. One that wouldn't be because they know anything, but because of a different reason. But I'm not going to do that. I mean, come on, though. You're calling home plate home base. You're calling home plate home base. How do you not do enough homework to at least know the fundamental basics of the game? That was a little wild to me. So, bring back Joe and John. I just missed that. But I guess it was trial and error, and that was definitely the latter. Let's get to the next game. Let's get to another positive, because Friday night's game, or Friday afternoon, whatever you want to call a 4 p.m. game, 4:40, was a win again. The Yankees won on Friday, 3-0. The righty Cam Schlittler against the lefty veteran Robbie Ray. The Yankee bats in this game go for 3 runs on 8 hits. They hit 2 home runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Stole a base and they grounded into 1 double play. Against the lefty Robbie Ray, they went with their right-handed heavy lineup. All for that. The one thing that did stand out to me was when they went to Goldschmidt over Rice to start. Just because the Yankees insisted during the offseason, they were very vocal about how Rice is going to see at-bats against lefties. But there was an explanation by Aaron Boone, and it was a very sound one. I don't know what happened to the right side of the screen there, but Aaron Boone did say that the Yankees are only facing one left-handed starting pitcher in their first 3 series of the season. So they wanted to get some of those guys reps. Now, that makes sense. Because it's very important for us to remember that when the Yankees make a move, rarely, if ever, is it because they're just clueless. It's never because they're stupid. It's usually for a reason, and that reason is usually solid. Just because we disagree doesn't mean we're smarter than them. And that's one thing I have to work on. So they got 2 runs in 5 1/3 on Robbie Ray, and they got 1 more run against the Pen in 3 2/3. But top of the 6th inning against Ray, Judge with a 2-run shot. And then Stanton, 2 at-bats later, with a solo home run once they go to Jose Butto. He hangs a slider to him. Stanton goes 4-14 to the pull side. It's 3-0 Yanks. So Judge goes 1 for 4. Hit the ball very hard to right field in his first at-bat of this game. The ABS system, I will probably say this a bunch this year, it's probably going to help Judge more than anyone. Stanton goes 2 for 4. Goldschmidt 1 for 5 with a leadoff double. Bellinger 1 for 3 with a walk. Caballero 2 for 4 with a stolen base. Going to the Yankee pen, because we'll get to the starter. 3 2/3 for the pen, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. I was about to say Nelson Cruz. Fernando Cruz appeared in the 6th inning. He finished out the 6th. 2/3 of an inning, no runs, 1 walk. Tim Hill got the 7th. 1 inning, no runs, no base runners. Struck out 2 batters, which was nice. Camilo Doval got the 8th. Again, we'll talk more on him in a second. And then David Bednar, the 9th, gets the save. 1 inning, no runs, 1 walk. Going to the mound to start the game, let's talk about this kid. And we're actually going to tip our cap to this kid. I thought he was the best starting pitcher in these 3 games. And that is Cam Schlittler. Cam Schlittler, we're tipping our cap to him because on Friday in Game 2 of the series, just freaking spectacular. 5 1/3 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts to no walks, 2 hard hit balls the entire night, and he gets the win. His only, and I'm going to put quotes around this, his only trouble came in the 2nd inning when Ramos doubled down the line, but he ends up escaping it. So other than that, he rode first gear the entire night, just very cool, calm, collected, never really needed to buckle down at any point. He finishes with 68 pitches because he's behind schedule from spring training when he missed a couple of days with that back injury. But just 12.8 pitches per inning in this game from Schlitt. He is so fun, man. I put it on Twitter after opening day. I said that Max Fried just might be my favorite pitcher to watch. I don't know. I think I have to take that back because watching Cam Schlittler 2 days later just paint 97 to 100 consistently with 3 different shapes was insane. He's got the cutter to go into lefties with, and he can also front door righties with. 2-seamer down and into righties. And then he's got the 4-seam that's got ride at the top of the zone, above the zone. I'm telling you, man, try hitting any tunnel combination of those pitches. You don't know until last second what kind of fastball you're getting. Is it glove side heat? Is it elevated heat? Is it something with sink and run? Like, especially because they all come out of the same arm slot. He's not tipping. It's all looking like the same thing out of his hand, and you don't find out until you're about to friggin' swing or get buckled up. It was so fun to watch this art. I'm going to keep saying art. In the first inning, he goes 99-mile-an-hour sinker, low and in, on the hands to Matt Chapman, gets him to swing and miss. That was followed up by a fastball. It followed up a fastball going the other way. It was a cutter. And then he goes in on the hands with a sink. He goes 99 miles an hour, four-seam fastball on the outer edge of the plate to Devers. That was the one they used the ABS on. Ends up being a called strike 3. Second inning, four-seam top of the zone after a bunch of sinkers and a bunch of cutters to Adames. Gets him to strike out swinging on that. You know, that cutter's got late bite to freeze him. It's also the first time he fell behind in the count, but he battled back and got the K. Third inning, four-seamer above the zone, this time to Harrison Bader. Gets him to strike out. Fourth inning, he strikes out Devers again, 99, middle of the plate. Fifth inning, he drops in a 12-6 curve out of nowhere to Young-Hoo Lee. Strikes him out swinging. That's a nice change in pace after sitting fastball that all game, right? All the Giants are doing are sitting fastball. Not that they could touch it, but they're sitting fastball. You drop in an overhand curveball. It's like, oh, shit. We got to worry about that now, too, from the left side. Then he goes 98-mile-an-hour two-seamer low and in. It's like a half-inch off the plate to Ramos. Strikes him out swinging. Also in the fourth inning, if you back up, I didn't mention this yet, a brilliant cutter to strike out, I think it was Adames again. He goes to a front door cutter. 95, top of the zone to Adames. So it's an insane pitch because it looks like it's going to miss inside. And then again, that late break to just clip the outer edge of the plate, the inner half of the plate. It's just crazy. You know, the velocity and the shape to his cutter. And he refined it in the offseason a little bit, but I remember last year saying it's just like a hard slider. You know, it sits top of the zone with velo in this slider-like horizontal break to it. So for the fact that he dominated this game like he did, barely using any off-speed, was ridiculous. 60 of the 68 pitches he threw, that's, I think, 88%, were fastballs. His three shapes to his fastball. Now, you know, that said, eventually this kid's going to have to lean into more of his off-speed and develop them a little bit more just to have something soft to go the other way, right? Develop that sweeper or slider for right-handed bats just so it's not always two-seam on the hands and cutter away, but you need something soft that goes the other way. And then maybe develop a changeup or a split for lefties. But he does have an off-speed for lefties. Again, he's got that overhand curve that he went to. It's a good north-south pitch for him to go the southpaws with. It's got excellent break. So I think just adding in off-speed like a sweeper for right-handed bats is going to make him a lot less predictable in his career, and it's going to help him finish batters quicker and go deeper into games because of that. That's like the last piece of the puzzle. But right now, he's able to dominate with fastballs because of the three different shapes they've got. You know, when he's got command going, to pair his command with the velocity, I mean, that's just lethal. You're not going to have a chance. You're dead. You know, I mean, look at this clip right here. I posted this on my Instagram. There's the two-seam in on the hands. Chapman can't get it. And he goes fastball top of the zone to Devers. And then right here, that front door cutter that we mentioned. Just freaking insane. And you know, a lot of people ask and around the league, you always hear people talk about it. I mean, John Smoltz was talking about it tonight. Like, you want to see why batting averages are down? You're asking us why strikeouts are up? Watch that. You know, let's go back to it. That's why strikeouts are up, right? That's why batting averages are down. I mean, what are we doing here? Blaming home runs. No, these guys have to swing hard. Because if they don't, that thing's going to blow by them. The guy's nasty. The guy's awesome to watch. But as good as he was, I was also just as impressed with Camilo Doval, which is why I'm going to tip my cap to the Yankee reliever for a fantastic series. Camilo Doval, folks. Camilo Doval pitches in 2 games this series. 2 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, no runs, no walks, no hits. On Wednesday, he gets the 9th. He throws an inning. Didn't look great on Wednesday. The command was a bit off, but it was a scoreless outing nonetheless. But it was Friday. It was Friday night when he came in. It's the 8th inning, and he was freaking dominant. 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. He strikes out the side 1, 2, 3. Absolutely disgusting with his cutter and sinker. The movement on those pitches is insane. Now, the velocity is still a bit down, and maybe some of that's intentional. But it doesn't matter, because when you're throwing 97 with breaking ball type movement on your fastball, that is stupid. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic there. You're not going to hit that. The sinker that he was throwing the other night, like screwball gyro slider type spin, but with velocity. You know, it's an insane pitch. Now, I don't know if Matt Blake tweaked the grip on his sinker to make it this like one seam shifted sinker, or if he's always thrown it like that, because I did see a snapshot from the Pitching Ninja on Twitter. Because Matt Blake has tweaked the grips of a lot of sinkers. Guys who come here like Fried and Rodon, they usually, they'll shift it over instead of a traditional 2-seam grip. See if I could show this on camera. Instead of like a traditional 2-seam grip, they'll shift it just over so they're along the 1 seam there. Kind of like that. I don't know if that's really good camera work, but I'm not good at this. But so I don't know if that was something he's always done, but it was working. And Camilo Doval, I will continue to say he is the Yankee wild card. This guy is a big variable here. Because if you can get him to rebound, whoa. The thing with him, it's just about command. That's all it's been. Because he's been an elite pitcher before. He is an elite pitcher. He's the second best pitcher in this pen. We're talking about a guy who's been an all-star before. We're talking about a guy who's led the league in saves. He's got a career ERA in the 330s. His K rate is just below 30% in his career. In 4 of his 5 big league seasons, that ERA sat in the 3s or lower, and the K rate's been 28% or better. The guy's filthy. Between the velocity, the break, and the mechanics, like the way he sets up where he's closed off and then the arm slot he throws out of, it's impossible to hit him. Cutter to lefty bats, sinker to righty bats, that slider that guys are always swinging on the top of. Got some clips here I want to show. Again, let's see why batting averages are down. Let's see why strikeouts are up. Oh, maybe it's because you have this guy on the mound throwing freaking dots. I mean, it's crazy. So we're definitely going to Camilo Doval, handing him tipping our caps to him in the bullpen unit. He was fantastic. And with that said, let's get to Saturday's game today, earlier tonight, I should say. I mean, it's 1 friggin' a.m. as I'm recording this. Saturday, the Yanks beat the Giants again for the official sweep. It's a 3-1 victory. Sorry, just let's see if I'm lagging here or not. I think we're good, right? 3-1 win over the Giants today. The righty Will Warren against the righty Tyler Mahle. Will Warren, 4 1/3 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 83 pitches, and he gets the win, or he doesn't get the win, gets the no decision. Not a great outing from him. It was a little underwhelming. Short pitch mix, he kind of kept it a little too simple, lacked the command of his stuff, so it was a short outing because of that. The velo was up early. Maybe that kind of wore him out as the game progressed. But at the end of the day, as underwhelming as it was a fine start. He got the job done for the pen to come in. Strikes out guys like Arias and Devers. Obviously, two guys who were tough to strike out. They were talking a little bit about how he's shifting over to the third base side of the rubber this year. Curious to see how that helps his sweeper play up because he's got a better angle at getting it to the outside on a righty. So I thought that was a cool point they brought up. So I'll be focusing on that. But, fine first start, not great, but got the job done. And then you go to the pen, 4 2/3, 5 strikeouts. They walk one batter. Brent Hedrick gets the rest of the fifth and the beginning of the sixth. So he goes 2/3 of an inning, no runs, a strikeout, and 1 hit. Bottom six, the Yanks are up 3-1. Devers gives up a leadoff double to him. It's a good slider. He gets it low in the zone. Devers just goes down and gets it, and he picks up a double off it. That's when the Yanks bring in Jake Bird for the rest of the sixth. Ramos, he gets him the ground ball, but it just leaks through the shortstop side of the infield for a base hit. But then he gets Adames to come up, and he strikes him out on a sweeper low and out, nasty pitch. And then he gets Bader to ground into a big-time double play off of his sinker. So he ends up going an inning and 2/3, no runs, 2 strikeouts. Because in the bottom of the seventh, he goes back out there, and he gets Schmidt to strike out. 2 sweepers followed up by a 96-mile-an-hour four-seamer. So try hitting that sequence. Tim Hill comes in at the end of the seventh and then pitches the entire eighth. So he goes an inning and a third, no runs, 1 hit, no walks, a strikeout. Continues to do his thing. He throws strikes. He gets ground balls. He's Tim Hill. David Bednar gets the ninth, 1 inning, no runs, a hit, a walk, a strikeout. He has not looked good so far. The command's been off, but maybe it's because, he pitched a decent amount in the WBC, just a little fatigue. But he gets outs. He's getting out still. He walks Ramos to lead off the inning. So that brings up the tying runner. Adames singles. Now the winning run is up. You got first and second, nobody out. Bader, he gets him to strike out on a splitter. Kind of middle of the zone, but he gets him. And then Bailey, to end the game, grounds into a double play. Goes Jazz to Caballero to Rice. Talk more about that stuff in a minute. But the Yankee bats, quiet but get the job done. 3 runs on 7 hits, 1 home run, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and they stole 1 base again. Against the righty Tyler Mahle, they went with their left-handed heavy lineup. Now that might sound normal, but Tyler Mahle is a guy, he's a righty who's got reverse splits because he likes throwing that split changeup. So I was curious to see if the Yankees were going to stick Rosario out there again or if they were going to go to Grichuk at some point or start him. But they went with their left-handed heavy lineup despite that, and they ended up getting 2 runs on Tyler Mahle in 4 innings. And they got 1 more run against the bullpen in 5. But top 3 against Tyler Mahle, you get Rice with a 2-run double off the right field wall. He gets 93 middle of the plate, slugs it, it's 2-0. And then top 5 against the lefty Barucki. That's when Aaron Judge goes deep, solo bomb, pull shot. It's 3-1 Yanks at that time. So Judge goes 1 for 4 with a homer and an RBI. Grisham 1 for 3 with a walk and a stolen base. Bellinger 2 for 3 with a triple and a walk. Rice 1 for 4 with that double, the 2 RBIs. Stanton 2 for 4, and 6-9 in the order in this game was 0 for 15 with 7 strikeouts, but doesn't matter because the Yankees get the job done. Behind their elite pitching, and I want to talk more about their elite pitching when we get back from our first break. Stay with us. Be back in a second.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops.
Okay, welcome back to the show, episode 1030 of BD4. I appreciate you all tuning in as always. As I said, the Yankees won this series behind their pitching. The starting pitching was fantastic, but the bullpen was, I guess you could call, a quiet strength. Because, entering this season, I think most Yankees fans have gotten on board with the fact that this is a very good team. And if you haven't yet, I don't know where you've been. But I think we can all also agree that if there is something that's questionable about this team, and fair coming off last year, it's the bullpen. But in this series, at least to start out the season, we have to give credit where it's due because, like we said, Jake Bird, Camilo Doval, Tim Hill, especially those guys, were freaking fantastic. And the Yankee pen went 11 innings without allowing a single run. They had a 0.82 whip, but they also struck out 12 guys, and they induced 4 double plays. Excuse me. I know at least they induced 4 double plays as a team. I know at least 3 of them came in the pen. One of them to help Bird escape a big situation with guys in scoring position. You had one of them with Hill on the mound, and then the one to end the series with Bednar. But, Jazz and Caballero up the middle, that is going to be an elite tandem as long as Caballero stays healthy and as long as the Yankees give him a shot over there when everyone's healthy. And by everyone, you know who I mean. But those two look great as a double play duo. Rice looks good. He looks like he improved at first base. Now, he didn't have anything crazy, but he did make some nice plays, some nice picks, some nice stretches. He went out and got a couple fly balls that he had to look over the shoulder with, turned those double plays with him. He looked good at first base, so that was a good sign. But this bullpen, man, you got the upside. One thing you can't say they don't have is you can't say they don't have upside. They have a lot of guys with swing and miss, hard fastballs. That's new. That's different. That's nice. You got velocity in the pen. That's something we've talked about for a while now. So I won't go deeper into that. But for a pen that was bottom third, now they have a chance to be at least top half. Hard fastballs. They've got elite breaking pitches, elite off-speed pitches. A lot of guys with ground ball, weak contact stuff like heavy sinkers and guys who throw changeups and splitters. That also gets ground balls. Right? So, just thinking about it in modern baseball, where the home run is so paramount, what's the recipe for success? It's to limit fly ball contact, limit hard contact in the air. Well, this Yankee bullpen specializes in ground ball rate and in K rate. And last season, they were 5th in ground ball rate and 6th in K rate. And that was with all the dead weight that was there at the time for a while there. This season, I'm hoping with a lot of the dead weight gone, they can become top 3 in each of those spots. And if they do, I think they'll be much better. Because you got a lot of guys. You got Jake Bird with the sweeper-sinker combo for ground balls and strikeouts. You got Camilo Doval with the cutter-sinker-slider combination for ground balls and strikeouts. You got Dave Bednar with the splitter, the curveball, the four-seam ground balls and strikeouts. You got Fernando Cruz with the fork ball that he gets swing and miss with. Tim Hill with the sinkers for ground balls, who's getting more strikeouts so far this year. But that's huge. Now, the issue last year was, again, even though you got the strikeouts and the ground balls last season, you were also bottom third in walk rate and home runs per nine. But again, like we said, a big part of that issue is gone. Devin Williams is gone. Leiter Jr. is gone. Loizaga, Hamilton, Weaver, who was not good in the second half. That's all out of here. And the Yankees also have ridiculous depth to push starting pitchers into the bullpen come the second half-ish of the season when guys like Cole and Rodon return. You know, and Heel, LaGrange, and Elmer and Hess are all down in AAA or wherever they are, AA, AAA, just waiting and developing and getting better, hopefully. So, yeah, I mean, the potential and the upside is all there. It's a sick, filthy bullpen if they're all pitching up to their potential. You know, to go from, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs with guys like Cam Schlittler and Ryan Weathers, who we got coming up, throws hard. To go from that to your Tim Hill and his 88-mile-an-hour sinkers to the Fernando Cruz forkball in the dirt, that's a crazy thing to adjust to. It's tough. And again, a Yankee pen and a Yankee pitching staff that loves to get guys to chase. They will throw off speed. They will throw out of the zone. They're not just going to buy in and give you a fastball. But now they do have some FU fastballs to mix into that, which is cool. They got a balance. But again, guys who throw a lot of off speed and breaking balls, now that we've got the ABS system, I think that's going to help. And I think the ABS thing is off to a good start here. Around baseball, you get a lot of interesting challenges so far. I know Sal Perez went viral the other day for humiliating whoever was home plate ump with like 3 calls. But it's good. It's very quick. It's very easy. I like the technology of it. I think it's a pretty simple understanding. You get 2. If your second's correct, you get another. If your third's correct, you get another, et cetera, et cetera. But I expect the Yankees to be pretty successful with it because they've got a good team who looks at reviews, and I guess that doesn't really have anything to do with it, but, they're all very disciplined hitters. They all know the strike zone very well. Caballero used it. Now, he got his wrong, but you had Wells and Judge already find success with it, right? Again, I mentioned it's going to help Judge massively get ahead in counts and maybe get more fastballs because of that. Wells, obviously, as a catcher, he knows the strike zone. He's a good framer. He was getting a bunch this series. Cracking me up the way he was just going to it. He was spamming that shit. I think Jazz is going to like this. I think Grisham will be good at it. Grisham is the guy who was 99th percentile in chase rate last year, meaning he was better than everybody but 1% of the league in not chasing balls out of the zone. So he's going to like that. He had one tonight that was overturned. It was like 4 inches top of the zone. It wasn't close. So I'm interested in it. I'm interested to see how much this rattles pitchers who don't get the call. We know pitchers are very emotional. There's a whole debate on whether pitchers should be allowed to use ABS and have it just be the catchers and the managers, but I think it's cool. Now, real briefly, speaking on the bullpen, and this might not be the most exciting topic to talk about, but the Yankees did sign, I think they signed this guy after opening night, if I remember. They signed a pitcher, Luis Garcia, his name is. He is a 29-year-old pitcher. Brought him in. I like the idea. I think it's a minor league contract. Fits perfectly with what they're trying to do, especially if he's used as a relief pitcher. He has been a starting pitcher for his career, though. But we're talking about a big right-hander with some good stuff. A sweeper and a curveball with some good movement. A high-spin fastball with some good ride on it. Some good carry. He gets swing and miss. He gets chase. He doesn't walk guys. He gets weak contact. So it's all the stuff we talked about. He's gotten some good results over the course of his career. He's got a career 3.60 ERA, 25% K rate, and a 7.7% walk rate. So it's another one of those low-risk, high-reward minor league deals. The only risk being his health. He's made just 8 appearances, 34 and 2/3 innings in his last 3 seasons. But not a bad idea. You could add him to the list of potential call-ups or potential DFA candidates between him and guys like Rafael Montero and Angel Chavilli, Osvaldo Bido, and those other offseason pickups. But going back to this series really briefly, I do want to tip my cap one last time. And this time I'm going to tip my cap to Giancarlo Stanton. Because I feel like Giancarlo Stanton was the best bat at the plate this series. You could go to a couple guys, Bellinger had some moments. I think Ben Rice had some moments. But I'm going to go to Giancarlo Stanton. Judge, obviously. But I'll go to Stanton, who went 6 for 12 this series with 5 base hits, 1 home run, 2 RBIs. Hitting the ball super hard on a line like he always does. Seeing pitches well. Going 2 for 4 in each game. Some big hits. It is so nice to start a season with Stanton relatively healthy, and I say that knocking on wood. But to have that power bat in this lineup, somebody in the middle of the order who has just as much power as Aaron Judge, it is huge. It is huge. So hopefully he continues to stay healthy and doesn't eat any chips lately, doesn't try to open them if he does eat chips or a bottle of water. But the man can still rake. We've seen it. I think a lot of us, or a lot of not very intelligent people, were giving up on him, including probably myself at the time, but I was a different kind of fan a couple years ago when he had a bad year. But the metrics have always been good. The metrics are still there. The bat speed's still there. He's still hitting the ball harder than almost anybody. So to have him healthy to start this season is going to be huge. So I'm excited to see Giancarlo Stanton. It helps that we have a couple days off already. So up next, the Yankees will go to Seattle. They've got the day off tomorrow to travel. It's annoying because I love Sunday day games. But the next series is in Seattle against the Mariners, and that starts on Monday. It's Weathers versus Castillo. Weathers, I'm excited to see him pitch. That's a 9:40 p.m. game because it's West Coast. Then you've got Fried versus Gilbert, 9:40 as well. 2 aces going toe-to-toe. And then you got Schlittler versus George Kirby in the third game of that set on Wednesday. That's a 4:10 p.m. game. So you have the Mariners for 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you've got the day off Thursday to travel back home. I'm going to try to get to opening day if I can. But with that said, we're going to head to our final break, get back, and wrap this one up with our trivia question of the day. So stay with us. Be back in just a sec.
Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Episode 1030 of the podcast. The Yanks sweep the Giants in the opening series in 3 games. They swept the Astros in 2024, they swept the Brewers in 2025, and they sweep the Giants in 2026 here. With that said, we're going to wrap this episode up with our trivia question of the day, and that question is, there are 4 Hall of Famers who played for both the Yankees and Giants. Can you name them? There are 4 Hall of Famers who played for both the Yankees and Giants. Can you name them? So, with that said, that is all we have for this episode. I had a lot of fun talking about the Yankees here. I'm super excited to get into this season. I think it's going to be a good year, and to anybody who's stressing, and just relax. It's a good team. There are going to be ups and downs. When they go through their slump mid-season like they usually do in June, It's not Yankees exclusive. Every team does it at some point. Because if the bottom line is still 94 plus wins like it usually is, they have just as good a chance as anybody at winning this division. I think they're the best team in the American League, at least by talent alone, but that's all you need. You need talent. And then once you get into the playoffs, you flip a damn coin. With that said, go Yankees. Sweep 3-0. Can't get better than that to the start of the season. I'll see you all very soon. Appreciate it. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.